Hello and good afternoon, good evening to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for joining us in this webinar. Today we are going to be talking about the stock market, and our in-house expert, Madam Gertrude, will be taking us through. Thank you so much for being with us and choosing to spend your evening with us. I would like to take this opportunity to invite you into this webinar. I hope you're going to learn something new. So I'll just start by uh, giving Gertrude the opportunity to introduce herself. So Gertrude, if you can hear me, you can introduce yourself.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Steve, for the introduction.
Yeah.
My name is Gertrude Njeri, and as you've heard, I am the in house expert on matters investing. Specifically, today we're going to talk about investing in the Kenyan stock market. Um, Something small about myself: I am an accountant by training, but I am passionate about sharing how people can get started on their wealth creation journey, and that is why we are here today. So, karibuni, and back to you, Steve.
It's okay. Thank you so much, Gertrude, for that. I'll just start by introducing Hustle Club and what it is. I'm sure people are wondering, what is this hustling, and yet we are hustling and we cannot see anything that we are getting out of this hustling. So Hustle Club is a platform where experts can be able to share their knowledge. This can be in the form of how-tos and tutorials. There is a gap in finding useful and trustworthy information in the online space. Some people will publish information that is not true just to misguide you. A good example is a video Gertrude reacted to a few last week. The person had published it on TikTok and YouTube as well. It was in regards to buying shares and investing. Unfortunately, the information that he had shared was not accurate. And if you follow such people, you might end up losing your money. So we are just here to make sure that we educate the public on how to invest and how to do things. So how it works is you find a course or a training that you would like to take, you make a one-time payment to it, and you get access to the content, and then you will be able to start learning. The access is lifetime. Once you make your one-time payment, you'll get access to the content, and if updates are made, you will be able to access them. So a quick one, just myself out of curiosity. I would like to know, maybe we'll answer this at the end of, or rather in the Q&A section. Why is it important for you to start investing? And then number two, on a scale of 1 to 10, how is it important for you to earn extra income from your investments? We'll be able to, or rather you will be able to give me feedback on these two questions in the Q&A section. So Gertrude, this is where you take over.
Thank you, Steve. Hi, once again. Um, Steve, could you kindly share the presentation, or would you
It's okay.
rather have me share it?
Yes, you can share.
Okay, okay then. Okay, just a minute. So, as we've said, today we are here to discuss how you can get started on investing in shares in the Kenyan stock market. So, what is on our agenda today? The first thing that you're going to look at is a short backstory to help you understand where I am coming from. Then we are going to look at what is a share and how shares work. Number three, we're going to look at what is the perfect time to buy shares. So many people have sent in such questions in my inbox, and I thought this would be the perfect platform to answer this question. Number four, we are going to look at how to start investing in the Nairobi Securities Exchange with as much as 3,000 shillings. For those who do not know what the Nairobi Securities Exchange is, this is our Kenyan stock market. Number five, we are going to look at the best shares to buy in 2024. So stick around for that. Number six, we are going to have a Q&A session. And number seven, we have a gift for you because you have given your time to us and you have accepted to be taught. So yeah, and finally we are going to say our last, the end. Okay, all right. If you can hear me, kindly uh, comment where you are listening to us from. I'd love to know where our viewers are listening to us. If you can hear me, just say whether you're in Nairobi, Kisumu. Kindly type in the comment section. I love an interactive audience. Ruth says Nairobi. Sorry. Steve says Nairobi. Can everyone else hear me? I'd love to uh, for us to have an interactive session. Oh, Ford says Nairobi as well. Thank you, Ford. Yes, thank you so much. So let's get started. So a short backstory. So that you can get where I am coming from. So, thanks to Safaricom shares, I was able to join high school. This is after completing primary school. I was called to join a national school. However, at the time, my family was going through financial turmoil. That means we had financial difficulties as I was transitioning from primary school to high school. Yes, you can see all that. In Kenyan typical style, no one had saved up for my education. In despair, my mother remembered that she had bought some Safaricom shares 5 years earlier, which she liquidated. That means she sold the shares she owned and took me to school. And that's how I joined high school. Now, how I survived through high school and campus is a story for another day. Now, you might be asking yourself, why am I sharing this story with you? Now, the purpose of the backstory is to show you that one, investments done right can be your saving grace. If even if you don't face financial turmoil, you'll have accumulated assets when you invest. Therefore, it's a win-win, meaning when you invest, you can have a backup plan when life throws its curves, and even if everything is fine, you'll still have assets in your name. That means you will win on both sides. Number two, remember that shares are high risk investments. What worked for my mother may not work for you. So make sure you do proper research first before you invest. And I bet that is why we are here today. Number three, start saving up for your children's education. For those of us who are parents already, start saving up for your kids' education. Life happens, and it is the wise thing to do. Are we good? I bet we are. So, Olive says, Meru, thank you so much. Cherry says, Pika, thank you so much. So, yeah, that is a short backstory about me and how I started. Uh, I gained, what should I say, interest in investing in stocks. So throughout campus, all I was doing was learning about stocks. And as per right now, I can say that I am an investor in the Kenyan stock market. I own a number of shares, and that's why we are here so that I can help you get started with investing in shares in the Kenyan stock market. So We hear this term, a share, a stock, equities, and all that. But what is a share? A share is a unit of ownership in a company. What does that mean? That means when you buy shares or stocks of a company, pardon, you become part owner of that company. That means you are eligible for some perks of owning shares. If I am going to first, kindly comment and I will slow down. And if you have any question, feel free to ask and I'll be happy to answer it. So, we have understood what shares are. Shares are a unit of ownership in a company. But how do they work? When you buy shares from the stock market, you become part owner of the company. This means that you are entitled to some privileges like making decisions in that company. Yeah, as you can see, uh, the meme on your right hand side, bottom right hand side. Yes, when you are an owner of shares, you can make decisions in that company, and part of the you are entitled to part of the profits that that company makes. This is called, this is distributed in the form of dividends. Yes, when you invest in a company and the company performs well, it makes its profit, you are given part of that profit, and this is what we call dividends. So, what is the perfect time to buy shares? But before that, I'd like to get your thoughts. Okay, believe we can. Yeah, if I am going to first, you can let me know in the comments section below. So, what is the perfect time to buy shares? Well, the simple answer is when you have understood the company's business. Now, I know that you are asking which shares you should buy, but my answer is to invest in what you understand, not what you hear everyone say you should buy. I might say that I invest in Safaricom shares, another person will say Bamburi, another person will say another uh, type of share or stock. But if you do not understand what the business of that company is, you have no business investing in that company. So, step one, understand the company's business. What does that company do? What kind of shares, what kind of business does that company do? If this regulation is made by the government, will it affect that company positively or negatively? Okay, so first thing, understand the company's business. Why? Because when you understand a business, you will be in a position to decide when to increase your holdings or when to exit the company. As an investor, it is wise to know when you should exit. As much as we are talking about the perfect time to buy, that is the perfect time to enter into the stock market, you should know the perfect time to exit. Otherwise, you will incur losses. Now, how do you understand a company's business? You get to do this by doing research, reading through a company's financial statements. Yes, you have to do a lot of reading as an investor, and so forth. This is called fundamental analysis. What is fundamental analysis? Fundamental analysis, in a nutshell, is whereby you read through the company's financial statements, cash flow statements, and so forth, so as to understand the position of that company, whether that company is valuable to you as an investor. As we said, As an investor in shares, when you buy those shares, you become part owner. And we do not want to buy shares of a company that is soon going to run out of cash. This is why we have to do research. We have to do fundamental analysis whereby you get to know the value of that company before you put in your hard-earned cash. Why? Because as an investor, we want to our money to work for us. All right? Are we together? Okay. So, after you have understood the company's business, what is the next best time to buy shares? So, after you've done your research, you have gauged the company's financial health, financial status, that is through fundamental analysis. The next best time to buy shares is a time like this when they are heavily discounted. I have a question for everyone, and as I said, I love an interactive audience. So kindly write your answer down below. Does the price of a share represent the value of the company? Let me know. It's a yes or no question. So let me know. Does the price of a share represent the value of the company? I'll give you an example. So I have company A whose share price is 400 shillings and company B whose share price is 20 shillings. Which company can you know the value of a company based on the share price? Okay, Terry says no. Steve says no, and that is correct. You cannot know sorry, you cannot know the value of a company based on the share price. Why? Because the share price of a company is determined by how people are buying and selling that uh, company or shares of that company. For example, if you have a company with a share price of 20 shillings and everyone in the Kenyan stock market starts buying that share, well, the share price will increase. Why? Because the quantity remains the same, but we are ramping up because there is high demand, and that's how the share price is determined by the demand and supply of shares in that company in the market. Sorry, in the markets. So yeah, I'm so happy to see that we know that the price of a share does not represent the value of the company. So after you've understood the value of that company, the next best time to buy shares is right now. We have so many blue chip stocks, companies like Safaricom, which are heavily discounted. As per now, I believe the price is between 14 to 15 shillings, which has not been heard of in the last 10 years. 2 years down the line, the same stock was ranging between 35 to 44 shillings. So the next best time to buy shares is now when they are heavily discounted, but make sure the value matches what you are buying. Okay, so what we came here for, how to start investing in the NSC. As we said, the NSC is the Kenyan stock market with as much as 3,000 shillings. But before you buy shares of a company, you have to have a number of things. So here is the stock market investor checklist. So, number one, you have to pick a stockbroker. And who is a stockbroker? Pardon. A stockbroker is a middle person to help you buy and sell shares. The second thing that you have to choose is the trading platform. When choosing your stockbroker, make sure that they have a trading platform. Um, this can be either an app or a website to help you place your orders. The third thing that you need is a CDS account and trading account. What is a CDS account? Pardon? Just a minute. Sorry about that. I hope that you can hear me. Steve, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so as we were saying, we were on the third thing that you need, that is the CDS account and trading account. What is a CDS account? A CDS account is a storage for your shares. The same way that you have a bank account which stores your money, a CDS account stores your shares, and a trading account to help you buy and sell shares. So we have picked our stockbroker, we have the trading platform, the accounts, and number four, finally, you top up your investment account. So, how can you start investing in the NSE with as much as 3,000 shillings? In Kenya, some shares are priced less than 1 shilling, and others as high as 400 shillings. Let's take two examples. Um, on the left, we have BAT, that is British American Tobacco, and on the right, we have Century, two companies listed on the Kenyan stock market, different prices. So let's see how much you will need to invest in each one of these companies. So as a rule, the minimum number of shares that you can buy in the Kenyan stock market is 100 shares at a go. That means 100 shares of any stock listed on the Kenyan stock market. So for BAT, the share price is 440 times 100, we have 44,000. Now, in addition to the cost of the shares, there are other transaction costs, which can be a commission charged by your stockbroker. This is how they make their money, and transaction fees. Yes, regulatory bodies such as CMA, CDSC also charge a small amount. Um, all this amounts to the transaction cost. The lowest transaction cost I have seen is 1%. So let's take that. So 1% of the 44,000 is 440. So it will cost you 44,440 to buy a minimum of 100 shares of BAT. All right. On the right hand side, Transcentury, which whose share price is 50 cents. Minimum order remains the same, which is 100. 100 times the 50 cents, we have 5 shillings. The transaction cost, whether the uh, price of the stock is a lot or not, the transaction cost remains the same. 1% of 5 shillings 50 cents. The total cost of buying Transcentury will be 5 shillings and 50 cents. So I bet we understand all this. So back to our 3,000 shillings. I took my favorite company, which is Safaricom. This is not an endorsement, but yeah. So Safaricom, as as at Monday, the share price was 14 shillings and 55 cents. The minimum order remains, which is 100 shares. So 14.55 times 100, 1,455. And because we want to budget 3,000 shillings, we'll take two another 100 shares, which will give us a total of another 1,455. For the 200 shares will be 2,910. The transaction cost remains the same, 1% of that, and the total cost of buying 200 shares of Safaricom as at Monday is 2,939 and 10 cents. So that is how you can invest 3,000 shillings uh, in Safaricom. Yes, I feel as if I've gone on for so long. Do we have any questions so far? Are we together? If we are together, just let me know in the comments. Let me know that yes, we are together and that we are understanding. Yeah, are we together? If I'm going too fast, can you let me know? Oh, yeah, so far so good. CDS account, expound more. Okay, okay, just a minute. So, a CDS account, as I have said, is where your shares are stored. The same way you have a bank account for your money, you need a CDS account for your shares. This is a requirement when investing in Kenyan shares. However, it is not a requirement when investing in foreign stocks. Um, Expand more. Okay, it is simply a requirement, and the purpose is for you to store your shares. Whether you have, whether this is something that I came to learn this year, you can have the same CDS account but with different stockbrokers. Yeah, so all of your shares, yes, Kenyan shares will be stored in your CDS account, meaning each month you can see the number of shares that you own and the quantity. They usually send a statement at the end of the month. Yeah, so a CDS account is simply a storage for your shares, and a trading account will help you trade, buy, sell, and all that. But a CDS account is a major requirement when investing in Kenyan shares. It is a storage for your shares, Kenyan shares. I hope I am clear. Ruth, is that understood? Okay, I believe so. So, on to the next section. On to the next section, which is what are the best shares to buy in 2024. Now, there are over 10 sectors in the Kenyan stock market, but we are going to focus on six. This is a compilation of financial analysts, the stocks they have recommended, and I support what they are saying. Ruth says yes, that's clear. Thought I would speak, but I guess you can't hear me. Yes, unfortunately, I can't, and I'm happy that you. Yes, that's clear. So, as I was saying, there are more than 10 sectors in the Kenyan stock market, but we are going to focus on just six. Um, yes, and I'll share more about that. So, there are six sectors which we are going to focus on. And as I was saying, this is a compilation of what financial analysts are recommending and what I agree with. Yes. So the first sector is the agricultural sector. And we have three shares, that is Kakuzi, Kapchuro, and Williamson T. I believe you'll need either a notebook and pen or just screenshot this, but in the agricultural sector, we have Kakuzi Kapchora and Williamson T. Why? Because this year has favored the agricultural sector, meaning this will spill over and we will see the agricultural sector perform well. As we said, when these businesses make money, investors get a share of that profit made, and this is what we call dividends. So, in the agricultural sector this year, the weather was conducive, therefore, it will spill over. Number two, the second sector is the energy sector. We have two stocks, that is Umeme and Kengen. So, Umeme is not a Kenyan company, it is a Ugandan company. Umeme is the KPLC of Uganda. That's on a side note. So in the energy sector, we have Umeme and Kengen. Why are they on this list? Because they gave good dividends this year. Number three, we have the manufacturing sector, whereby we have BAT and Capasid. Same thing, the manufacturing sector, distributed dividends. The fourth sector is the insurance sector. We have CIC and Jubilee. The fifth sector, which carries the bulk of shares in Kenya, with 10 companies, we have ABSA, Bank of Kigali. Yes, this is also not Kenyan share, but a Kenyan company, but it is listed in the Kenyan stock market. Then we have Equity, we all know Equity, I&M, NCBA, Stanbic Holdings, Standard, Chartered, Cooperative. And lastly, we have the telecommunication sector. Uh, we have my favorite, Safaricom. At the end of this section, we will share with you a list of all the companies in the Kenyan stock market that issued dividends this year. So look out for that. I believe we've come to the Q&A section of this webinar. Steve, over to you.
Thank you so much, Gertrude. We can. Sorry, let me switch over. Let me take over the presentation. Sorry, 1 second. Oh, or you can just keep presenting. We open up the session to you. You can be able to ask any question that you would like Gertrude to answer. The floor is open. The floor is yours. But before you go to those questions, I will still give you an opportunity to answer the two questions that I asked in the beginning. The first one was why it is important for you to start investing. And then the second one was on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it for you to earn extra income from your investments? So the floor is open. You can be able to answer these questions. You can just unmute yourself and then you will be able to hear you.
Steve, in the
Yes.
meantime, as we wait for the answers, I believe
Yeah.
there were a number of questions sent in. Maybe we can start
Yes.
with those questions as we
I-
wait for the rest.
It's okay. Just give me 1 second. Uh, the first question was asked by Teresia. She asked the analysis methods, maybe how to analyze stocks and all of that. Maybe you can answer it.
Okay, so when you are analyzing stocks, there are two methods that investors use. The first one is fundamental analysis. I mentioned it earlier, but I can give a summary. Fundamental analysis, sorry, is whereby you look at the financial health of a company and gauge its value. And the second method, which mainly looks at the price movements, the history of movement, the movements, how the prices have been behaving in the past, so that you can sort of predict whether the prices will go back or not. Is technical analysis. So the two are: one, fundamental analysis, and technical analysis. Those two combined make the best analysis for investors, mainly short term investors and long term investors. But yeah, so the two types of analysis is fundamental analysis, you look at the health, and technical analysis, you look at the history of price movements of that company. Yeah.
It's okay. Thank you so much for that. I'll go to the second one, and this one comes from Anne. She's asking, how does one open a CDS account? And then the part B of that question is, which are the best stock brokers to use? Rather, which ones would you recommend someone to use?
Okay. Um, Maybe you can repeat the first section.
It's okay. Let me just do the part A.
Yeah.
How does one open a CDS account?
Okay. To open a CDS account, as I have stated, okay, just to be to open a CDS account, you'll need the stockbroker. After you've picked your stockbroker, this is the person who will help you to open a CDS account. But these days, um, as you can see, step one, pick a stockbroker. Step two, make sure the stockbroker has a trading platform where you can place the orders yourself. Step three is to get a CDS account. This CDS account will be created for you by a stockbroker. So, step one, pick a stockbroker. The stockbroker will help you open your CDS account. And the good thing about the advancement of technology these days is that you can request your stockbroker to open a CDS account today, and by tomorrow evening you have your CDS account. You do not need to visit their offices, fill out forms, and all that. No, thanks to the advancement in technology, you can get a CDS account through your stockbroker, who has either a website or an app whereby you can request for a CDS account. So the CDS account will be created by your stockbroker. Yes.
And then thank you so much for that. And then the second part of the question was which stockbroker do you recommend?
Okay. I recommend a stockbroker who you know about. A stockbroker who there's so many things to look at when choosing a stockbroker, because this will be your right hand uh, person. If they are not efficient, that means your trades will suffer. So I suggest vetting the broker. making sure that they have a good customer service rapport, whereby if you need assistance, they are there. They are there to assist you. So one thing that I would suggest you do is to look at what people are saying about a certain stockbroker, because online, okay, personally, my stockbroker is Faida. Um, I chose them mainly because of an app. I needed somewhere whereby I can make an order, whether I'm in a matatu, whether I'm on the road, whether I'm at home, I can make my order and they'll uh, help me execute that order. So make sure that this person is someone who is reliable. Yeah. But I'll share later on a few of the steps that you can use to pick a stockbroker. But mainly make sure they are reliable.
Thank you so much, Gertrude, for that. I'll move on to another question that was asked by Ruben. Ruben had asked the minimum investment amount one can be able to invest in the Nairobi Securities Exchange.
So the minimum amount that you can invest depends on a number of factors. Number one, which stock are you buying? Number two, what is the quantity? As we've said, the minimum number of shares that you can buy is 100. And based on our two examples, you can have the same quantity, that is 100 shares, but the factor making the difference is what stock are you buying. You can either buy, in our example, BAT, which is retailing at 440 shillings, or Trans Sanctuary, which is 50 cents. And we have seen the total cost for BAT is over 44,000, while Trans Sanctuary is 5 shillings. So it depends on the share that you want to buy and the quantity that you want to buy. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you so much. I'll move on to another question that has been asked by Ruth.
Yes.
Ruth is asking, what are the risks to look out for before buying?
Okay. As I started by saying, shares are high risk assets, meaning they fluctuate. For example, BAT, there was a time it was 440. Yesterday I looked at it. It is around 410 shillings per share. So one of the risks is that shares are high risk. That means they fluctuate in prices very often. So when you're getting started with shares, know that, and don't be afraid, because yes, they fluctuate, but over time, the growth over time, that is for long-term investors, these fluctuations are even out. That means yes, today it is at 440. By the end of the week, it is at 410, but over time, it is an upward curve. So as a beginner, I suggest looking at long-term investing and not short-term. Just short-term, utashikwa na blood pressure. So that's one of the risks to look out for. Another thing is that when you choose your stockbroker and all that, make sure that they are licensed by the Capital Markets Authority. You don't want to invest with someone who will um, not be there tomorrow. So make sure, first of all, they are licensed. Know that shares are highly volatile. They are high risk investments, and there are so many other things I believe we will tackle later on. Next question.
Ruth Ed, sorry, Ruth Ed also asked, which are some reputable brokers you would recommend? I believe that question has been answered
Yes.
together with Anne's question. So
Yes.
I'll move on to Benedict's question. His question is it possible to have a list of stockbrokers to avoid getting duped with how the market is flooded with con people?
Yes, yes, it is possible. The Capital Markets Authority, that is CMA, which regulates all investment players, they have listed all the licensed stockbrokers on their website. Um, I believe I can share the website. Just a minute. But yeah, so just a minute. So the CMA website, this is where you can find all the lists of licensed investment uh, entities in Kenya. So before you invest with anyone, oh dear, and it is not working, but cma.or.ke, that is where you can get the list of licenses. Um, yeah, the list of stockbrokers in Kenya.
Thank you so much. I'll move on to the next question. The next question was asked by Amli.
Mhm.
Amli had asked, is it worthy to invest in our local market given the decline in Kenya shillings compared to other markets?
So before I answer that, one thing that we have to understand is that one of the reasons why our stock market is not performing as well as it should be is that foreign investors have seen other opportunities in other markets, and therefore they have withdrawn their investments from the Kenyan stock market. Therefore, that money being taken somewhere is the one of the reasons why we have seen a decline in the prices of shares. So, will this change? Yes. Yes, it will. But one of the remedies that we as Kenyans can have so that we can support our Kenyan stock market is that we can invest in it. There, meaning we don't have to rely on foreign investors to boost our Kenyan stock market. So yes, the Kenyan stock market will uh, recover eventually, but we as in Kenyans have what? How can I say this? We have a responsibility so that we can stop relying on foreign investors to help our market perform. So, yes, it will recover, but we also need to start investing ourselves. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I've put a link on the chat. It has a list of all the licensed stockbrokers in Kenya. It's from the CMA website, that is Capital Markets Authority. If you want to look at the licensed stockbrokers in Kenya, you can be able to click on the link. It will take you to the CMA website where it has listed all the stockbrokers in the Kenyan market. So I'll go to the second question, asked to another question asked by Ruben. Ruben is asking what determines returns in investment of shares? What determines returns in investments or investment of shares?
Okay. In order to answer this, I have to mention the two ways in which investors um, gain from owning shares. I excuse me, I mentioned that the first method you can profit from owning shares is through earning dividends. The second way is through capital appreciation. This is whereby you buy shares at a low price and sell them at a higher price. Let's take our example, that is Safaricom. Safaricom is ranging between 14 shillings to 15 shillings. Now, someone might buy at 14 shillings today and wait for the next 1.5 years, which will uh, predictably, we are predicting, hopefully, um, increase the share price to maybe 25 or 30 shillings. Therefore, 14 minus 30, you will gain from 16 shillings. That is capital appreciation. You buy at a low price and sell at a higher price. The second method is through earning dividends. Companies like Safaricom issue dividends. As we said, these dividends are a share from the company's profits. So two ways: capital appreciation and dividends. That is the two ways you can gain from owning shares. So a return on your investment, you can calculate that uh, for, let's say, dividends. Let's say Safaricom says that they will give you 1 shilling per share that you own, meaning your return on investment will be your dividend yield. That is 1 shilling over the share price times 100. That is the return on investment. Two ways you can earn: dividends and capital appreciation. I hope that is clear. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I think you have gone also into the second part of his question, which he was asking, what do you gain by buying and selling of shares, depending with the value of shares. Ruben, let me know if your question has been answered to your satisfaction, and then I'll go to another question. This question is asked by Lauren. Lauren
Mhm.
is asking about USA stocks,
Yes.
maybe how she can be involved in the US stock markets while in Kenya.
Okay. The US stock markets. How do I say this? So yes, you can invest in shares in the US stock market. Well, in Kenya, there are various stockbrokers to help you with this. Not stockbrokers per se, but companies to help you with this. One company that I personally use um, is what can I say? I'm supposed to mention it, but yeah, one of the companies that I use to invest in the US stock market is HISA. They have partnered with a foreign stockbroker to help Kenyans access the US stock market. So, yes, you can invest in the US stock market, while in Kenya, there are various companies that are helping investors do this. Maybe we can have another webinar on this so that we can. There's a lot to tackle when it comes to investing in foreign markets. I believe we can have another webinar. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, that is something that we can be able to set up.
Okay, awesome, awesome.
Maybe you can answer Olivia's question. She's asking the name of the company that you had mentioned in terms of buying shares in the US stock market.
Okay, so as I've said, I use HISA. I'll type it there. So I use HISA Inc. Yeah, but I'll mention that later. We'll have another webinar. Okay.
It's okay. Another question, the difference between shares, funds, and features. This one is being asked by Ken. Ken had asked this question, the difference between shares, funds, and features.
Okay, so the difference between shares, funds, and funds are options. options and futures.
Shares,
Mhm.
funds, and futures.
Funds.
But you can also talk about options.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So the main difference between uh, futures, options, and funds. Okay, let's start with options and futures. So options and futures are contracts between you and your broker to buy um, shares or other assets at a later date at a set price. Now, the difference between options and futures is that futures have um, you have to buy those shares at that future date. But for options, you have the right uh, right, but not you are not obligated to buy or sell those shares at that specified date. I hope that is clear. Yeah. So that's the main difference between options and futures. Both are contracts between you and your broker to buy or sell shares at a specified date in the future at a specified price. The difference between options and futures is that options you have the right, but you are not obligated to buy or sell those shares at that specified time and at that specified price. But for futures, once you make that contract with that broker to buy or sell those shares at that specific price at that future date, you have to. So that's the main difference between options and futures. But for shares, as we said, so as options and futures, you do not own the shares. Rather, you have an agreement between you and your broker. But for shares, as we said, when you buy shares, you become owner of that company. So yeah, that's the main difference between options, futures, and shares. I hope that is understood.
That is clear and well understood. Thank you so much for that. I'll go to another question asked by Evans. Evans was asking how to do, no, actually, this is Daniel. Daniel had asked
Mm-hmm.
how to do analysis for companies listed in the Nairobi Stock Exchange. How
So
to do analysis for companies.
okay, as I mentioned, there are two methods whereby you can analyze stocks on the Kenyan stock market or any other market. That is fundamental analysis and technical analysis. Those are the two methods. And as I said, fundamental analysis, this is whereby you look at the financial health of that company, whereas technical analysis, this is whereby you look at the historical performance of the historical prices of stocks. Yeah, so fundamental analysis and technical analysis, those are the two methods you can use to analyze stocks listed in any stock market. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I believe you go, the two methods are much deeper than you are
Yeah.
stating at the moment. I think, or rather, I want to assume they go many deeper.
Yes, they do. And if I start going deeper into these methods, you'll take the whole night. And but I have a solution for everyone. Yeah, I have a solution for everyone now. I'm just waiting to maliza section, then I can show you whereby you learn so much more.
Okay, I'll go to another question. Maybe you can answer it. How long will it take for the stock market in Kenya to rebound for stocks such as Safaricom, Equity, KCB, and EABL?
Okay. That's a trick question. Uh, uh, it's as if the question is asking whether I can predict when the market will
Yes,
recover. And
yes.
To be honest, no one can. No one can predict. But instead of looking at when the market will recover so that you can go into it, you'd rather play a defensive um, game whereby whether the market is down or not, you are still benefiting. And as we are saying, the stock market at the time, the prices of these big companies, EABL, Safaricom, the prices are down. But as a long term investor, that shouldn't matter to you. Why? Because whether the prices are down or not, the companies are still paying dividends. Therefore, as an investor, you are still gaining from investing in them. So instead of looking at when the stock market will recover, look at the opportunities that are here. This is the best entry point. Why? Because the prices are down, yet the companies are still performing well. They are still paying their investors dividends. So instead of looking at when, look at the opportunities that are here right now. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for answering all the questions.
Yeah.
Ruth, if you can hear me, you can let me know if your question has also been answered. The latest question you had asked was to repeat the broker for your Kenyan market.
Okay, so my broker, as I have said, is Faida Investment Bank. Let me type it. So that is my personal broker. Um, Welcome, Ruth. Do I recommend them? Uh, yes, I do. So far, so good. But I'd suggest that you do your due diligence first before choosing any broker, and I'll show you that in a few minutes' time. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Gertrude,
Is
for.
yeah. We done with the questions?
I think we are done with the questions.
Okay, we can go to the next section.
Oh, there's someone who is asking a question.
Okay, okay.
They have raised their hand.
It's okay.
You can go ahead and ask your question.
Hi guys.
Hi.
My
Yes. Mm-hmm. Steve, I think you can handle that.
Thank you so much. Yes, you will get a certificate upon completion of the courses. And the second question, no, the course will not disappear just because you have finished learning. The course is yours. You'll be able to access it anytime, anywhere. You can be able to access it on your phone. You can be able to access it on your computer, laptop, or iPad, whatever device that you use to access the internet. You will be able to access it. And even if you're finished learning, you can always be able to go back. The course is there for you. Since you have paid for it, it's only a one-time payment for that. Let me know if I have answered your question.
yeah, that's
Okay. Okay, we have another question.
Yes, I wanted to ask, in terms of investments, when you invest or before you even invest, where can you log on so that you can look at these companies? Let's say for example the companies that you gave us, the Kakuzi, the Umeme, the BAT, and the CIC, all those ones. Do you have like a platform whereby you can go and see how they are doing during that particular time, or um, how the trading is going on, so that you can know after you've done your due diligence, so that you can know at that particular time if to make your purchase or not for the shares. Which are these sites whereby you can go and monitor? Thank you.
Okay, so there are very many sites where you can monitor the performance of stocks. Um, but one of the resources that is most reliable is mainly your stockbroker's website, the company's website as well. So if you're looking at Kakuzi, go to its website. They have a section for their performance. Each quarter they release. Sorry about that. They release their uh, performance and post it there for public consumption, as well as your stockbroker's website. So those two sites are the most reliable. Yeah. I hope I have answered your question. If not, let me know so that I can expound more. Okay.
Olivia, you can ask your question. I can see you have raised your hand.
Sorry, I was talking. I had not seen my mic was not on. So I was saying,
Yeah.
maybe
Yes.
you did not understand my question. I was asking, like, for
Yes.
example, let's say I invest on Kengen or Kakuzi, for example, and I want to know how the shares are doing, or how they are doing in the market. Like today, is the share up, or is it down, or at what percentage is it? So I was asking, where can I go and look at these shares? Where can I go and monitor, like, the companies and how their shares are trading, for example, so that maybe I can be able to make an informed decision when I'm selling or when I'm buying, something like that. That's what I was asking. Like on a day-to-day basis, like vile naweza ingia sahi and say, hey, today let me go and check how my shares are doing, or let me go and see if we are going at a loss or we are making profit, like, something like that. So where can I go and monitor how it is going?
Okay. In terms of the performance, that is the fluctuations in share price, as I have said, you can either go to your stockbroker's website. Let me share mine. So this is my stockbroker, as you can see. Okay, as we can see, this is December 14, and we can see ABSA, the latest price is 11.30. The change is 0.25. Um, it is on an upward trend. Yeah. So, as I've said, you can go to your stockbroker's website. You can see the movements in the shares. As for the other metrics, um, you can. As for the other metrics, personally, as I have said, I use an app. Um, So your stockbroker is the one to help you get this information. So when choosing, make sure they are active in terms of relaying market performance news, newsletters, and all that. I hope, yeah. So your stockbroker's website is the best bet, yeah, to see the performance, the day-to-day performance.
Hi, Olive. I hope your question has been answered.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, you're much welcome.
Welcome. So, do we have any other question? So before we go to the last section of this webinar, Steve, do you have any?
Not on my side. You can, before you show us the gift, is it possible for you to show us maybe what is covered maybe in your training, or maybe just a quick overview of what you go through in depth?
Yes, that is part of the gift. So it is the season of giving, and one one gift from us to you is, I think I'll have to cancel my, I'll stop sharing. So one gift from us to you, because you gave us your time, you gave us your evening, um, is to tell you that, okay, the gift, I'll mention the gift later. So um, as Steve introduced Hustle Club is a platform where you can learn from professionals. And one thing that like to mention is that I have created a stock market course, and the title of the course is to how to invest in the Kenyan stock market uh, for beginners. And yeah, so about the course, so this is a 3-hour course whereby we go through an introduction to investing in shares, what the difference between saving and investing, so that you know when you're investing, when you say you're investing, what does that mean, what a stock or a share is. I believe we've covered that, the benefits of owning shares, the minimum investment, the key players in the Kenyan stock market. This is where I show you who who's who in the investment space in Kenya. When you don't receive your dividends, who do you go to? In this section, that is the key players in the Kenyan stock market, we cover that and so much more. And after each section, there is a course as uh, a few questions, quizzes, to help reaffirm what you have learned. Um, the second one is navigating the NSE and the stock market structure. This is whereby we go through the history of the Nairobi Securities Exchange. As I have mentioned, you can invest in foreign stocks, that is companies like Umeme, which is quote unquote the KPLC of Uganda. You can also invest in a company like Bank of Kigali. In this section, you'll get to understand how that is possible, yet you are investing in the Kenyan stock market. The main composition of the NSC, so that you do not call the NSC the Nairobi Stock Exchange. You'll get to learn it is no longer called the Nairobi Stock Exchange, rather, it is the Nairobi Securities Exchange, when it was changed and why. In this section, how to choose and analyze stocks, we go in depth into the two methods of analysis, that is fundamental analysis and technical analysis. As you can see, fundamental analysis is almost 40 minutes, so you understand that this is quite comprehensive, but we have broken down this information in such a way that you, as a beginner, you will not be lost. You will understand, and in case you still have questions, you can leave your questions in that section, and I'll be happy to answer them. Steve is also there, and he will help you um, navigate the course. After that, we go through the myths, mistakes, and risks of investing in the stock market. We mentioned that stocks are high risk investments, but what are the other risks that, as a beginner investing in the stock market, you should know? What are the mistakes you should avoid, and so forth? The second last section is whereby we go through building and managing your investment portfolio. Apart from shares, what other investments should you include in your investment portfolio? Why? Because at a time like this, when the stock market prices are down, on the other side, uh, bonds are performing well, the interest rates are performing well. So, how can you balance this? And lastly, how to navigate an app that I personally use. Therefore, if you have any questions about the app, you have someone who is already accustomed to it. So, in this section, I'll show you what that app is, how you can buy and sell shares. I will not tell you, rather, I will show you. I will show you. Tap on this button, tap on that button, and so on. This is a demonstration. And lastly, how to deposit and withdraw using M-Pesa to fund your investment account. And lastly, the last quiz, which is investing in the Kenyan stock market. So, as you can see, that's a lot. And as much as I'd love to cover all this in this sitting, it is not possible. However, I have created this course to help you answer those questions. Which websites should I use to get more information? Yes, I have shared that you can go to um, stockbrokers website, but apart from that, which other website can you go? Can you download those financial reports when you are doing your due diligence and so forth? There is a lot of information packed into this 3-hour course, uh, and as you can see, the price is reduced, already reduced from 4,500 to 3,500. And because we said that this is the season of giving, we are going to give you a gift, that is a coupon code, to reduce that price even further. So from 4,500, it has been reduced to 3,500, and because you attended this webinar, you get another 500 off. Yes, you've heard that right, by using the coupon code webinar. Yes, maybe Steve, you can type the coupon code.
Yes, I'm typing it.
So, yeah, that's our gift to you. We have created this course that is packed full of information to help you get started. And we have already reduced the price from 4,500 to 3,500. And with that coupon code, the one that Steve has typed in the chat section, you can get an extra 500 off. This is between today and January 15. So you have that time for you to enroll in the course. And apart from getting that information, you will get your questions answered. Whenever a topic or a statement is not clear, you can just type your question in the comments and you'll get assistance. So that's our gift this Christmas, and I hope you accept it. Do we have any questions? Steve, maybe you can take over.
Thank you so much, Gertrude, for that. Thank you so much for each and every one of you for taking your time, sparing your evening to come and listen to us. We do not take it for granted. I can see Vincent is raising his hand. Vincent, you can go ahead and ask your question. The floor is yours,
No, sir.
Vincent.
I just want to say thank you. I mistakenly raised my hand, but thank you so much for the information.
Let me ask you one question, Vincent, before you mute yourself.
Yes,
How has the session been for you?
it has been really interactive and helpful and also eye-opening. So recently just heard about HISA, and I think when they launched engaged the data a bit earlier, so there were a lot of bugs which I encountered. But by now, I think I need to go back and check it out again. So thank you so much.
Uh, Thank you so much, Vincent, for that. Gertrude?
Thank you so much. So I believe Vincent mentioned about um, yes, the session was nice. Um, the good thing is that for anyone who joined late or missed this session, you will get a recording of this session in your inbox sometime. Uh, Steve will communicate about that. Uh, Thank you so much for being with us, having us, spending your evening with us. Um, Maybe if you have any question about the course, I can take them before we end the session.
Thank you so much, Gertrude. If any one of us has a question they would like to ask or a comment about how the session was, the floor is yours. You can be able to give us feedback on that.
I believe there's a comment by Ruth in the
Yes.
chat section.
Oh, it's okay. Let me read it. Ruth is saying, thank you. The session was informative and worthwhile. Ruth, thank you so much. We do appreciate your feedback. Mary is also saying, hi, do you have a direct line where they can be able to reach you?
Um, Direct line. Do you mean phone number or? Huh.
Maybe what I can do,
Yeah.
I'll email you, Mary. Then I'll be able to connect you with Gertrude directly instead of kumwaga unga mahali kuna kuku wengi.
It's okay, Mary. Steve will get in touch with you and he'll share my contact detail with you. Yeah, I believe Steve is raising his hand.
Yes, Steve, the floor is yours.
Hi. Mm-hmm. Okay. Specifically, what would you like us to tackle in that webinar? Okay. Okay. It's okay. Yes. Okay. Steve, Yoniaka, can we?
Yes, it's possible. If I hope if we set it up, you will attend. If you
I
say
will be there.
Yeah.
If you will be there, we will set it up. I want to assume by January is when you will be having a lot of money that you can be able to
Yes,
invest.
right now we're saving only for Christmas.
Right. It's okay. Yeah. Yeah, okay, okay. See you
Hello,
then.
Olive.
Mm-hmm.
Olive, the floor is yours. You can be able to speak.
Sorry to bother you, but I have another question.
Yes.
Like when you're checking the shares and share prices, whereby you see, like for example, let's say Coop Bank, there's the price there, and then there's maybe a negative something with in red, and then maybe you check another company, like for example, let's say Safaricom, there's the price, and then there's maybe plus something, maybe plus 3 in green. What does it mean?
Okay, so I believe that's mine. Um, Let me share my screen shortly. So, as we can see in this section, APSA, um, it is in green, and there's an inverted, no, not an inverted, a triangle, a green triangle. So whenever you see the this in green and maybe a positive, that means the share price has gone up, that is, it has increased. On the other end, if you see the this percentage in red and an inverted triangle or a negative, it means the share price has dropped. So basically, that green plus sign gone up, red negative sign gone down. The share price. That is, yeah. I hope
Okay.
that's understood.
Yeah, that's it. That's in order. And so, if in that case, is it advisable to buy it as it goes up like that, like in the green? Like for example, let's say that's Absa, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
the price is 11 per share is 11.30.
Mm-hmm.
Um. So of course now it has an increment of 2.26. So can you, is it advisable, does that show you, like when it's like that, when you see it going up like that, is it advisable to buy it at that particular time, hoping that it will continue like appreciating? Or is in short, I don't know which is the best time to buy it. Is it when it's not doing well, or is it when it's actually appreciating?
Okay. There's no simple answer to that question. Why? Because you have to first of all gauge a number of conditions. First, this is whereby we do technical analysis, whereby you look at the movement, the price movement of this stock. You might say that maybe 11.30 is a good entry point, but for another person, they might be waiting for this stock to uh, plummet, that is, go down to 10 shillings. So when you're doing your analysis, look at what you as an investor want to gain. This is whereby we do technical analysis. You look at the price movements. When this, as we've said, it is going up, it has gone up by 2.26%. But as an investor, maybe you have done your technical analysis, you have seen that yes, it is at 11.30, but the trend is an upward trend, meaning when you enter at 11.3, there is a possibility of that share going up to 12 shillings. Therefore, 11.3 might be a good entry point for you. However, there's someone who will do their own analysis and say that no, this 11.3 doesn't make sense. Why? Because the trend is downward. Meaning, yes, it is going up right now. It is going up right now, but in the near future, it will go down. Why? Because okay, this is a lot to unpack, but when you're doing a technical analysis, you have to look at where the trend is. Is it going up? Meaning, when you enter at 11.3, you have the possibility of going riding the wave, the upward wave, or is it going down? Meaning, this is just a false upward trend. It will be up sahi, but in the near future, itaenda ifike 10 shillings. So that depends on you, and you have to do your technical analysis. So it's not a simple answer. You have to look at the price movements as well. Yeah.
Okay, and by price movement, you mean you have to access the previous market, how it has been doing, maybe the previous months or maybe
Yes.
years, for you
Yes.
to be able to, okay,
To
okay, yeah,
make your
I get you now.
assessments. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Olive, I hope your question has been answered. Ruben is also asking
Mm.
okay.
I
What
think
does it do to an investor when the price goes up?
okay. It depends on what type of investor you are. So for long-term investors, if the share price goes up, the better for you. If you are a short-term investor, that means you are trading the difference. Remember, we said two ways of earning from investing in shares. Capital appreciation is one, whereby you buy at a low price and sell them at a higher price. That means you are a short-term trader. This is a characteristic of short-term traders, whereby they buy low, sell high. So when um, it goes up for the short-term investor, the better for them. But if the price goes down for the short-term investor, that means for them they are losing. So it depends on what type of investor you are. Are you a long-term investor, or are you a short-term investor? So once you know what kind of investor you are, it will be easier to answer that question. So what type of investor are you?
Ruben, I hope your question has been answered. Gertrude, if no one else has a question, I think we can be able to close.
Okay, so yeah, I believe that's it from us. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope to see you enroll in the course, and let's keep the conversation going. And I hope for the new, for the near, uh, for the future webinars, we'll see you. That's it from me. Have a great holiday, a great new year, and we'll see each other. Okay, that's it from me. Steve?
Thank you so much, Gertrude, for taking your time to do this webinar. Thank you for each and everyone who joined. We do not take it for granted that you chose to spend your evening with us. From us, all you have to do is say thank you and wish you a great evening and a great night, and also wish you a Merry Christmas and a very prosperous New Year.